Over the last 3 years, I've talked to about 150 CEOs and some other C-suite executives, primary CEOs, about introverts in the C-suite. That is the top of organizations. In this case, I've been looking at organization over 10,000 people, so big organizations, not a person and their dog at all. And much to my surprise, 25 to 30% of senior executives in these big companies are introverts. As an extrovert, at least I found that surprising. It's interesting that three strengths keep coming through in all the interviews I've been doing about what are introverts bringing to the table. The first one is introverts tend to be better listeners. Extroverts like myself tend to rush to talk, the words come out easily, perhaps too easily. And so this strength of listening, of thinking before you speak, something probably our mothers taught us, is one that introverts really have in spades, at least most introverts. This fits with two interesting things that we see happening. One is millennials, people under 35, have been brought up in a way where they really honestly believe their story is as good as the story of the person at the front of the room as a professor or as a manager or leader. So millennials want to be listened to. They feel like they need to be listened to, otherwise you're a jerk. So introverts, as better listeners, fit very much what the millennials want. It also fits with where strategy is coming from. Emergent strategy seems to be more what's happening today rather than the bit more old-fashioned deliberate strategy, typical Michael Porter in the Harvard Business School perspective on the world. We'll talk about that some other time. The second thing which introverts tend to be better at, on average anyway, is that they're more apt to share the spotlight than extroverts. So extroverts like myself like the spotlight, we're comfortable with it, but part of being a manager and a leader is not to be about me, but to be about we. Being from the superstar to someone who develops and grows other people's talents. So introverts tend to be better at that, putting the focus on other people and sharing the spotlight and allowing them to the front of the stage rather than always have to be the front of the stage themselves. That's very much a strength that introverts bring to the table. The third thing is that they take time to think before they speak, and so they let other people's ideas come to the fore. And then they do is they tie those ideas together because they have time to think about it and come up with a better idea based on other people's input as well as their own. So this is something that really is helpful as we look for greater innovation in the workplace. So we see there's other strengths, but three great strengths that introverts bring to the executive table, in fact, to any other team at all. So what I'd encourage you to do is consider the value of introverts and make sure you have more introverts on your teams going forward.